So this girl came up to me at a party and she gave me a number, and she wanted to meet up. And at that time, when you were in that kind of situation, you would get a lot of attention, not just because of your looks or something, but because you could facilitate a lot of things for a lot of people. So I was supposed to go see her, and we didn't have cell phones like nowadays. We used to have pagers, right? We had some cell phones, but they were like those old, big,
early 90s.
Yeah, this is early 90s. So I had another girl that contacted me about. My mom was very strict, right? So I couldn't, and I never this is something I've never spoken back to my mother. I was never disrespectful with my mother. I never yelled at my mother till today. And people can ask my mother. Alhamdulillah, I'm always been respectful. She did a lot for me. She went through a lot of hardships, so I always had a respect. So if I wanted to go do stuff, what would I do? I would go stay at my friend's house, and his parents would tell my mother, yeah, they're going to be in bed by 9, but we do whatever. So Saturday night, I was spending the night at that same friend's house, and he used to have a garage where we used to sell drugs and have guns and stuff, and then he had an inner house which nobody was allowed in. That's where his grandmother and parents and all lived. But with me, he was that close that I would stay inside the house, and I would speak to his family and all that. So Saturday night, I was staying at his house, and I told him, hey, I got these two at the same time. I don't know what to do. So he's like, well, give me one. I'll take one, you take the other. I said, all right. So I gave him one number, and I took the other. And what happened is he called, and basically she said, meet me at this payphone and call me, and I'll come out and get you. So he went, and when he got to the payphone, he rang the number. Instead of her coming out, a bunch of guys came out and they shot him.
A setup?
It was a setup. But the setup was for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Qadar Allah.
Qadar Allah. So, months they had planned this out. When I met her, and then she kept in touch with me, but she was working for them. So all that, was just a setup. Now, I didn't know. I was out, and the next morning I got a call, and they said he's dead. What? What do you mean he's dead? He was doing this last night. He's like, no, it was a setup. And it hit me hard.
Did you feel guilty?
I felt guilty. It was different feeling, because
Your close friend as well.
very close, very good guy. He was always protective over me. It was meant to be me. So I went to his funeral. First I saw him, and he had been shot 9 times. So the bullets were, I don't know how many bullets they shot. It was multiple shooters and stuff, but it was a 357 bullet that went through his head. So the back of the head was gone, and front had holes, and shoulder, hand, chest, body was all holed up. And somebody since you're a young kid. Like I said, I'd seen other people die, but this was a very close friend, and it was supposed to have been me. So I was just imagining myself there. And when we buried him, we had a lot of money. We used to bring drugs. We couldn't put it in a bank. We couldn't buy property. We couldn't invest it. We didn't. So what we'd do is we'd buy cars and put expensive rims on them. And so we had a really nice '64 Impala with rims and hydraulics and paint job and custom seats and all that. And it was, I was 18 at the time. So it's not like it wasn't really mine. It was ours together from the money that we all got from the drug trade and stuff. And he used to take care of that car. He was really into cars. I wasn't really a car guy. But he was really he would wash it and clean it and all that stuff. And I saw his brothers were driving the car, and he had 13 girlfriends. Not girls that he slept with. Who knows? But 13 that were his girlfriends. That they all knew about each other and all that. And each one of them was at the funeral, but crying on some other guy's shoulder. I watched this. I watched those girls go home with another guy. I went to his house. I was very close to his family, and obviously his mother was having a panic attack, and his grandmother was crying, but his brothers were already fighting over his things. We on the West Coast, we dress different from the East Coast. We don't wear Versace and Bali and all that. We wear Dickies and Pendletons and Ben Davises, and that was our dress code. And at that time we had these jackets called Ben Davis. They were heavy jackets, and they were expensive. For us, they were expensive, So his brothers were already fighting over that, and He used to store his money at home. And I knew where he kept it. We were all trust. It was gone. Like his brother's already taken it, you know. I just started thinking, you know, what's life about? Like we used to think about drugs. We didn't do heavy drugs. Like from the leadership, we had very strict rules. We couldn't do meth. We couldn't do coke. We couldn't do heroin because that would make you vulnerable, right? But selling drugs and things, what would that help him now? Money. Obviously, money was a big thing. We were all broke. We were all poor kids, you know, so money was something important to us. But he didn't take any of it. Girls, no girl went into the grave with him. They all walked out with somebody else. Power, you know, we used to have clout. I mean, my mother was very strict on grades, right? Desi mother, right? So I always had good grades. And I mean, I was okay in school too. It's not that I wasn't, but sometimes, you know, they tell the teacher like, hey, it's going to be an A, right? And if not, there'd be a problem, you know.
So he was strict with the education.
Very. May Allah reward my mother, you know. And she saved my life many a times. Many a times I was going to go do something and she'd be like, Beta, where are you going? And she'd just know, you know, and I never disobeyed. And she told me don't go, I wouldn't. And then, you know, people would get killed and things. But